I'm at 3630 Fawnrun Drive in Blue Ash, Cincinnati, Ohio. Doing a sanitary lateral inspection. Actually, this is not Blue Ash, this is Evendale. But the address is Cincinnati, Ohio. Doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. We're looking for any structural issues, root intrusion, anything that would be concerning to the buyer. Our access location is, at least one of them is, this stack here in the rear right of the basement if you're facing the home. There's also one in the middle right of the basement that we're going to try to go through, maybe check a branch, and then there's also one in the center rear, left rear of the basement also. And we're going to try to go through all those, and that way combined we can take a look at as much pipe as possible in multiple branches. The line is PVC. Now, based off of when the house was built and everything, this could change materials when we get out to the get out of the house. It could, but we'll talk about that if we do come to it. Now, it looks like this right here is the branch for the stationary tub. We may not have to go into that. I'm going to run a little bit of water here so we can check it. Basically, if that comes straight out here, depending on how long it takes for that water to get there, it could be very close. But this, I'm not sure what direction this headed off the base of this stack. So, but yeah, it's already taken a minute for it to get out. So I'm assuming it wasn't right as close as I thought. Well, let's keep on going to the inspection. Well, there it is right there. So it's basically as soon as it comes down and turns, that's where that water line comes, or that's where that other branch comes in from that stationary tub. And so we may not have to actually go down that. Let me turn the water off, see how long it takes to quit. So it's a very short line. What that is that the line comes over, turns, it's picking up the floor drain for the, you can see it already stopped. And that had to be what was coming out of the trap also, when we turned it off. So yeah, that's only a couple feet. Where we turned is probably at the very end of the floor drain there for the condensate, for the HVAC. So it's not uncommon to have a little bit of water in these lines, especially since we just ran through it. So this line looks a little flat. It's not anything drastic. It's PVC, so it's slippery, but it just looks like they put minimum pitch on it as it exits as it goes through the floor. It's pretty common for them to do that. They put minimum pitch when it's in the house, and then once it drops out, you can usually see. So we'll also run water in a couple of these other branches. The ones that we can't get to, we'll run water like in the sink in the basement. There's like a bar sink, I think, or a wet bar over there in the front right if you're facing the house. Oh, it's just a quick little wind in and turn. Nope. Sometimes the camera gets hung up a little bit making turns. Here's a little bit of build up. It's probably because of the way that the line was. It's probably the last person that used the restroom before they left. So looks like we have some root intrusion here at 75 feet. We did switch over to clay, which is a common thing, and switching over to clay, it's very, very common to have root intrusion as the one downfall to clay. It's a very good material. It does not disintegrate. It doesn't, but one thing it does is the packing material, because these lines, they're in 3-foot sections. And so sometimes the packing material kind of breaks down at those connections, or it kind of shrinks, and then it allows some minor root intrusion or some finger roots, some small root intrusion. It, like I said, it's very, very common. It just does require some maintenance. And so usually what we call for in these areas is a cleaning. And then we usually recommend a yearly chemical treatment like Rudex, something like that. And that's like a chemical that you can put down the put down through the line, through a clean out, through a toilet, something like that, usually before you go to bed, and let it sit overnight. What that does is, well, obviously it'll have directions on it, but it can kind of foams up, it catches on the roots, and it burns them back a little bit. It doesn't kill the tree, it just kind of kills back the roots a little bit to keep them from growing in. Now, there's only one spot so far that I saw, and that was at about 75 feet, that was getting close to the flow line. And so usually with that amount, it's a good idea. It didn't look like it was bad enough to where it would cause a problem. Now, this is a weird little drop off. It's not causing an issue or anything, and it's all intact. It looks like when they put this in, when they made the connection, because we're going back to PVC out in the street, and so probably right here on the main, or close. Yep, this is right on the main. So this is where they made the tap on main here. Huh. I am going to have to locate this because this does not look good. It looks like we're sitting right above a clean out that's dropping straight down, presumably into the main. The way this turns is very, very odd, but you can see how that line is stuck up. This is going to have to be inspected. Well, we're going to find out where it is. This may be something that is the responsibility of MSD, or if we're not out far enough, it could be on the property. It's really hard to tell. We're going to have to locate, but there's no way for my camera to get past this. It, like, basically, as you can see, the line is sticking up. And so first things first, I'm going to pause the video. We're going to get a locate, find out exactly where this is, and then we'll go from there to find out whose responsibility this would fall on. Okay, so this is right in the center of the front yard, right underneath that little pine tree. I put a flag and some green paint there, but there's really no way for me to basically, you just can't see it very well. You have to actually look inside that area. Yeah, I'm just trying to get an idea of how in the world, that they even decided to make this kind of a connection there to go straight upright to drop this down. Now, you can see a little bit of toilet paper stuck there. And the way this is protruding into the line, it looks like the line's sunk. I'm also going to, because I really have no way of passing this point, because you can see how the edge of that pipe is protruding up into the flow line, and it was supposed to be down further, and then it drops off. But you can see that connection must have broken, I guess, and slid up into the fitting. That's kind of what it looks like, because it looks like it's only messed up on one side. The other side looks like it's held in place pretty well. And maybe they were able to get things through this. Maybe it flowed, as long as they were just using toilet paper. But that's a pretty big lip. And so again, it's marked out there. It's 8 foot deep. I couldn't find any indication of a clean out there. It's probably just a turn down. I was trying to see because it looks like there might have been a hole above it, but I just can't see well enough. I think it's just a turn down and a 90. And I poked around just to see. I didn't see anything. And so instead of them going straight, they kind of... So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recommend that this section from here over to this offset right here be replaced, because it looks like that whole line sunk where it connects to the clay. Goes from the clay to the SDR35, this green PVC. And so I'm going to pause the video again. We're going to get another locate here, and you have two, and I'm just going to recommend that that line be, because of the secondary one at 111 feet, if you're going to dig it up, I would reset this whole section. But that's up to a plumber to decide. They're going to have to have you're going to have a licensed plumber evaluate and give an estimate on repairs. They may... I don't think they're going to recommend that you leave it like this, but they may recommend another solution compared to what mine is, what my recommendation is here. Obviously, I'm not a licensed plumber, so they will have to take a look at that. But yeah, it's a pretty big offset, and to fix that, you're probably going to be better off just replacing the beginning of the PVC here at 105, and then go out to that point. And also, there's no way of inspecting anything beyond that 111, 112 feet. Due to that offset, it doesn't allow me to proceed. Now, I don't know if I mentioned, but that spot is 8 foot 1 inches deep, right underneath that little pine tree there. But I'm going to pause the video again, and we're going to locate this offset. Okay, this is just a few feet up. Obviously, it's 6 foot 8 deep. I just flushed the toilet downstairs, and we're running some water. I want to see how it reacts to this spot right here, because you can see it is overtaking that spot, but you know, I mean, maybe if you just use toilet paper, no wet wipes or anything like that, it wouldn't build up. But that's definitely breaking the pipe. That line should not be sitting that high inside that line. Obviously, the water is overtaking it, but it prevents my camera from getting over it, so it is a definite fear of buildup in that area. I don't know if it's ever caused an issue, but that's definitely not right. So, just wanted to take a look at it and see how the water was overtaking it. You can see it kind of dumping over. It gets high enough, and then it's dumping over into the edge of the line there. But you can see there's actually a piece of toilet paper or a wet wipe or something stuck in the bottom right hand corner on it already. And so it looks like the piece is just a really weird setup. Really weird setup either way that they chose to connect it like that and have a straight drop off like that, unless it's actually on the main, but I don't think it is. I'd have to walk up and down the street to see, because that might be on the top of the main, in which case it may be something that would be the responsibility of the sewer district to repair, or to at least, you know, have them analyze it and you know, see what they think. And so I will do that, and if it is off the property, if it is like right on top of the main, then I will mark that in the report. But I don't, based off of the placement of it, I don't believe it is. I think it probably drops off 90s down right there and then goes out at that lower level to connect to the main. But So really, you have roots at about 79 feet, and here at 75 feet. The worst being at 75, and that's about getting to the point where that would need to be cleaned. Starting to get in there where it might catch some roots, but you might be able to get past it with some. You might be able to get by with just treating it with some chemical, but that would probably need to be cleaned, especially since you're going to have to do a repair. I would go ahead and have it cleaned while someone's here. And then I'm also going to, once we get back, I'm going to go through the rear stack, and we'll do that one branch so that we know what kind of shape that's in. So the line looked good structurally till we got to that 112 foot mark. Well, really to the 105 foot, but where that sunk, with the downstream side sunk, that wouldn't have caused any major issue. It would have just, it would have continued. It wouldn't have caused any blockages unless it got worse. But obviously the one at 112 is a pretty big issue. Like I said, water can overtake it, but I would be very worried, especially if it continues to sink like that. It's just going to keep blocking up more and more of the line. Okay, so we are back out of the clean out here, and I'm going to pause the video, and we're going to go through all the measurements will be done from this location as far as when I put them in the report. The 105, 106 feet and the 112 feet will be from this right, the right rear clean out, right rear stack, next to the radon system. So right now I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to make a move to the other stack, and then we'll continue to the end of the inspection. All right, so now we're in the rear. It's the rear left of the basement, I guess. In the other unfinished area, well, it's finished. Just looks like a little work area or something. And so you'll see there is the clean out right in the wall. Here's a little workbench there. And so we're going to go through here, and we're just going to go out to the connection where we just leave the house, and we'll go out until it goes into clay. That way, we've gotten to the point where we've inspected the line previously. So all the interior PVC does look pretty good. Didn't see any major issue. In the interior, I didn't see really any issues at all. You can see that's where that line ties in. And so we've been to this point, but we'll continue on to the clay just so you can tell that we have exited the house, and there we are. So there's that root ball again that we went through it. On the previous one was at 75 feet. You can see it's already catching. See how it's catching that toilet paper? I just pushed it through. But so it's getting to that point, so you want to have that cleaned. But all the interior stuff looks good. Basically, yeah, gonna have to have that line evaluated by a licensed plumber, that spot at 112 feet in the previous part of the video, and have it evaluated and get an estimate for repair. Again, unless I get out there and I look up and I can see that the main is directly underneath that turn down, in which case it might be the responsibility of the Metropolitan Sewer District, but based off the placement, I really don't think that's it. So we're all the way back into the drum again, and so I don't really need to summarize, but basically the line looks pretty good structurally until you hit that 112. And obviously that offset is preventing my camera from going any further, and is a spot where you got a high enough lift and you got that shifting going on, where it looks like that fitting is broke and the vertical pipe is coming up through the horizontal at that 90, and water's overtaking it, but any kind of major, any more shifting just is going to make it worse. And you can see that the upstream side at 106 feet has already dropped a few inches, and so you want to get that evaluated and probably repaired by a licensed plumber. But up to that point, everything looked good, with the exception of a little bit of root intrusion, which is very, very common in that pipe material. Yeah, overall, get it repaired, and that would also allow complete inspection also past that point. That would be necessary to inspect the rest of the pipe once that gets repaired, and or while the repair is going on, somebody could probably put a camera in at that point when it's dug up and inspect the rest of the line. But that's going to end the inspection at 3630 Fawnrun Drive in Evendale, Cincinnati, Ohio.